can't believe they ruined, then canceled my show.
Now, Pumpkin, they just used research and testing to mold the show into something they felt really related to the teens. And as we shall see, research is never wrong.
One of the things that I think is new today that I'm hearing from your testimony is that from an early period of time, you believe, and the information you're aware of, is that CIA scientists from an early time after the pandemic began, 2020, 2021, were concluding that the lab leak was the most likely hypothesis?
Yes, Senator. I'd like to offer some qualifications on that as well. A lot of the issues occurred at the interagency space, at the National Intelligence Council, the individuals responsible for conducting or writing WMD analysis. So, intentional or not, the IC's actions resulted in a cover-up, wasted resources, and a failure to properly inform policymakers. Public health policy would have been very different had the American public been made aware that a virus from a lab in China was going to serve as the foundation for an emergency use authorization mRNA products being mandated by the former administration.
Well, but
oh my
if there was
God.
evidence, I'd love to hear it.
There's
I just don't know.
a novel respiratory coronavirus overtaking Wuhan, China. What do? Oh, you know who we could ask? The Wuhan novel respiratory coronavirus lab. The disease is the same name as the lab.
Legislation requiring the Office of the Director of National Intelligence to declassify all, I believe the exact language is, declassify any and all information related to potential links between the Wuhan Institute of Virology and the origins of COVID-19. I have some familiarity with this legislation because I wrote it. It passed the House unanimously. President Biden signed it into law under, I think, popular duress. As you may remember, well, first of all, are you familiar with this law?
Oh, of course, yes.
As you may recall, it set a statutory deadline of just a couple of months later, which the Biden administration promptly ignored and blew through. When they finally did release the report, I think we've got a picture of it here that'll appear over my shoulder. It was all of 5 pages. Yeah. Here it is. Wait for it. 5 pages. Remember, the law says any and all information. 5 pages, heavily redacted, even the 5 pages. I think
Dr. Fauci's role in the cover-up was intentional. Dr. Fauci influenced the analytical process and findings by leveraging his position to ensure the IC consulted with a conflicted list of curated subject matter experts, public health officials, and scientists. This included some of the authors of the paper, The Proximal Origin of SARS-CoV-2, and other public health experts who have been in his orbit for the last 20-plus years.
Dr. Fauci, give us vaccines.
Vaccinate, vaccinate, get rid of COVID. Vaccinate, vaccinate, get rid of COVID. Shut the arm, doesn't hurt at all.
How did this? So wait a minute. You work at the Wuhan respiratory coronavirus lab. How did this happen? And they're like, a pangolin kissed a turtle.
Because I represent science.
In the name of the Galactic Senate of the Republic, you're under arrest, Chancellor.
Are you threatening me, Master Jedi?
The Senate will decide your fate.
I am the Senate.
Not yet.
But the virus stops with every vaccinated person. A vaccinated person gets exposed to the virus. The virus does not infect them. The virus cannot then use that person to go anywhere else. It cannot use a vaccinated person as a host to go get more people. That means the vaccines will get us to the end of this.
We have seen that play out at workplaces across the country. Employees faced with 2 choices: get vaccinated or risk losing your job. Well, now it is happening on the front lines of the pandemic at hospitals that are already crippled by COVID cases. North Carolina's largest healthcare provider, for example, suspending hundreds of its employees for not getting vaccinated.
When it comes to your child or grandchild, trust me, I know.
The president, admitting his patience, has worn thin, unveiling sweeping new vaccine rules that are already facing multiple legal challenges.
So this is going to get a lot of attention. You'll hear a lot of people talking about this today because under this plan, companies with more than 100 employees will now be required to ensure that their workers are vaccinated, or you have to test every week.
Senate makes a vote to repeal the president's COVID-19 vaccine mandate for large businesses. This is a symbolic vote. It's not going to get taken up in the House, and the president would veto it anyway. So symbolic, but what symbol is it, and what signal is it sending to the rest of the country?
I just want to tell you all, go fuck yourself.
The 6-foot distancing rule. This rule became an important policy consideration in subsequent regulations. However, you testified recently, and I'm quoting, this 6-foot rule sort of just appeared.
No, I'm a ball till they turn off the field like.
Do you think that a rule that sort of just appeared is substantial justification for the regulations that we saw based on that 6-foot rule?
Congressman, thank you for that question. I answered that, but I'll summarize it briefly.
Which was more than likely caused by science.